Hello Flight Simulator fans and welcome back to the channel. Today we are checking out this crazy aircraft that I just bought from the Flight Simulator store, the marketplace. This is the Boeing 24-7D. And this thing is a really cool, I love vintagey, and I don't think it gets any more vintage than this. So this thing has a really wacky kind of manual startup process, and there's a couple ways to do it, but we're going to do it the full manual way because I think that's the funnest. It's a little hard, and you have to get everything set up just right. It's a little bit strange how the thing works. So let's just take a quick look at the exterior model. It is pretty magnificent here. Now let's go back. I'm going to hop back in the aircraft real quick. This little clipboard thing kind of drives the entire experience, right? So we get into it's got some weight and balance things here. We're going to come back to this, but here we can assign all of these different, basically things that you can do to maintain the aircraft before you prepare it and load it. So if we hop outside, what we're going to find is more and more features kind of being added. The various cargo entry, the doors are going to be open, and it's nice. It's a nice touch. Pretty static, but looks cool. Looks cool, definitely. And these ladders, you need these to start the aircraft, so that's pretty sweet. I think the external model looks good. I mean, it looks fantastic. They all do these days. Nice reflections. It's a little too white for me. Like it really kind of looks too brand new. So not sure about that, but otherwise it's pretty amazing. And I'm not big for the external model anyway. I mean, I like a good external model, but more importantly, we want to get the aircraft set up. So the first thing that you kind of get to in the clipboard is the weight and balance, right? So I'm going to basically turn off except for me, of course. And I'm going to give us some passengers here. And then we're going to, let's see, we'll have the passenger door there. We can basically, at this point, we're going to say make it. So now you want to make sure that you do this. You can switch over to pounds just by clicking if you prefer. Otherwise, it's kilograms. Because you can have fuel set in the Flight Simulator menu for fuel, but it won't be in the aircraft, and then your wobble pump won't work. And you're like, what's a wobble pump? Don't worry, I'll get to it. So we're just going to hit make it so, and you can see it's going to do all of this stuff. It's going to board the passengers. I don't know that this does anything on the outside of the aircraft. No, it doesn't. It's just more of a, this is kind of what we're doing. It takes time. So here we're boarding the passengers. And we just kind of are waiting for this to do its thing. I don't think we have to really sit. You can see as the passengers board, they turn green. Removing the passenger stairs. That's good. Closing the cabin doors. So it's doing all this automatically for us. And I guess not everything, just enough for the passenger, right? So let's take a look outside again. Yeah, so we still have all of our carts and everything. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. We'll leave the wheel chocks for now. And we'll say, okay, we've got everything in there. Let's go ahead and get everything closed up. We're going to need we might as well leave the ladders out because we will need those. So, but at this point, the aircraft should be fueled and we have everybody on board that we need. Now, here's where we get kind of to the engine startup, which is a little bit tricky, but we're going to do it manual. So basically, there's two ways. This top section here is the assisted start, where basically somebody would be on the outside of the aircraft and turning the hand crank, and then you mesh the flywheel, which basically engages like the starter, and it will start if you've done everything correctly. We're going to do all that manually, which is this bottom part. And you just have to make sure that the ladder's installed, and then for the side that you're going to do, attach the starter crank. So your guy gets right on it, It takes them a few minutes, just a second there to get that installed. And then I'm going to go ahead and just click on this bottom part of the clipboard. We're going to do some setup here. Let's get the yoke out of the way. And let's zoom in on this guy here. So engine selector, we're going to start the left engine first. So whichever direction the little handle is, that's the engine that you're working with, okay? This is your primer down here. And you have to turn your main valve on by doing that, okay? Now, you'll notice here this top switch basically says which carburetors are going to get fuel. So obviously, in this case, we want both carburetors to have fuel. If you happen to have an engine fire in one of your engines, then you could cut off to be left only or right only. Now, we're also going to have to hit on our tank. Now, you notice that our fuel gauges here both say blank. Notice that this one says the right-hand fuel gauge is showing in the main, but we'll switch that over to show us what's in the auxiliary tank. So if we pull this, now we'll get an indication of how much fuel we have. It looks like about 130 gallons. And then let's check the auxiliary. That looks like it's full at 70. So we're going to be okay here. We're going to go ahead and turn on our left fuel tank on. And okay, so now here's where it kind of gets cool. This is your master switch. Now on my Bravo throttle quadrant, I just got the honeycomb Bravo throttle quadrant. I'm not showing it in this video just because it's not the best aircraft to show it off. I mean, it's kind of cool, but really I don't use too many of the buttons. I just kind of use the levers. This guy needs to be set, I hear, down below. These are called oil spillers or something. I'm not sure. Oh, that reminds me. We need to go back into here before we do the startup. Let's keep going here. It's weird that they set this here. So we got the ladder. Now we can place the oil pan. So we can top up. And it kind of doesn't say like kind of where we are. I guess maybe is there an oil quantity or something? I'm not sure. It doesn't seem to be showing on here, probably because there's just no I don't know, probably because the engine's not fired up. But we're going to hit the top up button and we're just going to say SAE 30. You can pick different weights of oil. So it's going to top that up. And then we're going to proceed here. Here's where you can hit your identity, your radio squawking mode. This thing really has a bizarre navigation thing. I'm not going to be covering that today. We're just going to be covering a pattern after we do a manual start here. So we're topping up the oil in the right tank now, and that is good. Closing the right. Okay, so now we're pretty well ready to go ahead and start. We got all this set up. We can now, so we hit on the master switch. So here's a switch here. That's like your ignition switch. We're going to set both of these to the magneto switches to both. And now for the left engine, I'm going to advance the mixture and the prop. And then we'll just put in just a little bit of throttle. And if we've done everything right, then we should be able to use this wobble pump, yes, and see our fuel pressure going up. So if you get to this point and this is not working, you've done something wrong, you have to go back and figure out what you did wrong. Anyway, we're going to put in some fuel pressure there. And now we're going to hop out to the control 6. And then we're going to start to spin the crank. Now what you have to do is as this is spinning, you have to hop back in again. Control 6, you'll see the pressure going down, so you kind of keep it going, right? As long as we've primed the engine, we're going to do that right there. Come back out, and you don't have to hold it forever. Just a little bit, and then hit the button down here, and there goes the engine, fired right up, because Programmer Airlines is a master before he comes on stream. Yeah, we know that's not true. Then we come back up in here and we can get rid of the ladder there and remove the starter crank, and let's move the starter crank over to the right side. You could probably have both of those set up right away. I'm going to bring up the manifold pressure. Now here's another weird thing. You only have one manifold pressure gauge, And it depends on which engine you're showing it at, which is, I don't know why it would be showing the manifold pressure on that side. Is that? Who the heck knows? But we're basically going to have to do the same thing. So we want to switch over now to the right engine. And we're going to advance the mixture up. And prop to fine. Advance the throttles just a little bit. Kind of crack it there. Let's go ahead and prime that baby. Let's use our wobble. And now you're going to use the control 7 to hop out. We're going to come over here, get that baby turning. And we're going to hop back in. We're going to do our wobble. Make sure we're keeping fuel pressure in there the whole time. Back out. Again, you don't have to hold it forever. Just a few cranks there, and there we go. Just like magic. Control 7. Just hit Control 6, Control 7. The instruction manual tells you to go back between Control 1, but that is like a different, that's this view, which might be helpful, but this is your elevator trim. And what is odd is I'm doing the elevator trim on my Bravo yoke, and it is not affecting that. So, and I also don't know where the indicator is to say, oh, this is where it should be, you know, for starting. So, yeah, I'm not real sure about any of that. But let's go ahead and bring that right side engine up just a little bit. And we are pretty much, wow, we should really, good thing we have the wheel chocks in place. Now let's hop back, whoops. Let's hop back here, bring up. Yeah, so now everything is wacky. There we go. So let's get rid of the ladder and let's get rid of that. That's right, go right over there by that running engine jack and pick that up for us. Guys, let me pop open one of my favorite beverages here. Happy Sunday, everybody. Back to work tomorrow. Ugh. But got to make money to pay bills, right? Okay, so we've got engine malfunctions, realistic engine start, and electrical failures. And I have very little experience with this aircraft, so if we have any trouble, we're going to be in trouble. Okay, so we're pretty much ready to taxi here. And we're just going to fly the pattern. We're going to head down to runway 27. Oh, we still do need this because we've got to come back and get rid of our wheel chocks. Okay, very good. I was afraid the plane would start to roll as soon as I did that. Now for the taxi view, if you just hit spacebar, you'll kind of go up a little bit more like this. Let's wait for this annoying traffic to clear our way. And we look good this way. Let's go ahead and we'll let off the brakes. Oh, we have the parking brake on. Ha 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 ha. So very gently, I'm not bringing that manifold pressure back too much. There we go. There we go. So if you start to roll, just take your feet off your brakes and reset, and you'll be a-okay. Now, you can have very little throttle in, and this guy will start to move. I did tweak my rudder sensitivities. So if you're having a lot of movement, then you want to adjust that rudder sensitivity. Again, I don't go too low on manifold pressure because if you do, it's you're going to have a bad time. I wonder, there's got to be a way to read that. Yeah, I mean, you have to basically reset everything. Like, it's the only way I know of. I don't know. Even in flight, I'm not sure how you'd restart it because you have to do the hand crank. So far, so good. Yeah, guys, having problems with Aerofly and the Bravo throttle quadrant. I mean, basically, I wanted to fly the Baron 58 or the Dash 8, and both of those have some issues. I have reported them to IPAX via their forum, and you know, I got a response back kind of asking me some questions, basically saying the Baron 58 problem could be a control handling issue where basically the condition doesn't map or doesn't move inside. Actually, it doesn't affect the aircraft at all, but it doesn't apply in the cockpit. So, and then on the Dash 8, when I start the APU, I was sitting at San Jose, and I start the APU, and I was on the ramp doing a cold and dark, and it it resets to the runway. So it looks like our actual heading here is about 010, maybe 00. So we're gonna adjust here just so we have, you know, a pretty good reference. Let's go a little bit. Probably right about. Right about there. Let's go right about there. Yeah, you just need to set the gyro to the compass heading. Now, I have had some weird problems where in flight, I don't know what happens. It's almost like there's a hiccup, probably due to fuel, because it's like an inertial fuel system that if you don't control the aircraft very well or you try to do crazy movements with it, it's going to basically affect the fuel flow to the engine, and that affects the electric. So if we see that going on, that's why. I'm going to advance the throttles up. I'm not going to be in that red zone, or if I am, I'm not going to be in there for very long. There we go. Nose is down. Airspeed's alive. Now, my understanding is this bad boy will take off like at 40 knots or something. So, all right, I'm hitting the gear lever on the Bravo throttle quadrant, and we're sitting at about 80 knots, which is a good climb. And we're going to bring the manifold pressure back just a little bit to about 32 inches, and then we'll bring the RPM back to about 22 inches. And it can be a little bit slow to respond to your control inputs, so you want to be careful. Here's your RPM gauges down here. All right, so we're airborne. We made it. Now let's try this throttle let's try this guy out. Okay, there's your trim. Kind of a bummer that that's not mapped to the to your actual whatever axis you have assigned in Flight Simulator. Make sure I didn't check. I don't know if this thing has flaps or not. I mean, I would assume it does, but so we got a nice strong climb going on. You might be tempted to be like, oh, this isn't really doing it. Oh wow, she's a loud beast, guys. Oh, you are something special, aren't you, baby? Yes, you are. Oh, delicious. Delicious and noisy. Let's get a turn going here. You can see how it is if you put in that rudder. I want to make sure you hold a little back pressure on the yoke. And we can switch down to this view again so we can kind of see our bank angle indicator on the artificial horizon. Again, it's a little bit slow to respond to your inputs, so you want to be ahead of the game as far as that goes. All right, we are really climbing good now. So I'm going to leave the trim sit where it is, and we're going to bring that manifold pressure back so we're just kind of cruising and not really climbing. We'll hold 80 knots. And we'll just kind of do a normal pattern here. Runway 27 at KOSU. I have the weather set to clear because today was a very cloudy day and rainy day in Columbus, and I couldn't see shit. That's just kind of the way it goes. So notice we're still climbing. This baby wants to climb. So I'm gonna bring those manifold pressure back. Again, if you're on the right engine only, you're only seeing the right. If you want to make sure the left is good, you have to switch over to the left. But there we go. Now we're starting a little bit of a descent. So far so good. The radio system, I don't know, man. It like works on a series of beeps like Morse code. I'm gonna have to read up on it. I'll probably do a video on the navigation in this baby, just to. Wow, are we climbing? Yeah, we're barely climbing. It's okay. Yeah, this thing is. I mean, I love the vintage, and this is as good as vintagey gets, right? This is the real deal right here. Let's go outside. Prepare for a blast of loud noise. Hang on, let's get us level here. Oh, yes. Wow, beautiful. I think cruise speed is around 170 some knots or something like that. It's in that performance. We'll have to look at it, but obviously here we're just staying trimmed up for landing. We're just doing a quick pattern here. A slight climb going on. Let's get down a little bit. Hanging at about 4,000 feet. I did not dial in the barometric pressure. I'm assuming it's 2992 since I'm running the clear weather preset. And we can start to descend here if we so desire, which I do. Yeah, we're bringing that manifold pressure back. I'm going to put the props full forward fine. Kind of odd that the manifold pressure is not reducing below a certain point. Let's hop outside here. We're sitting at 80 knots. Let's hit our flaps button. Yeah, I don't think this plane has flaps. Programmer Airlines. So I'm going to bring the gear down. That is going to give us some serious drag. As you can see, the airplane nose is down. And we're going to bring that manifold pressure back up and maintain a little back pressure. We know we're trimmed up for the right speed, so... It's awesome. Listen to those engines. All right, we have a nice descent going on right now. We'll probably have to hasten that, I'm sure, but far back, I recognize this little lake right here. Like when I'm in a smaller, more responsive aircraft, I would be turning there, but maybe we'll wait till this second one over here to kind of make a turn and head back in. Let's bring that manifold pressure back just a little bit. Let's go ahead and get a turn going. If that descent rate gets a little too steep, just pull back on the yoke at this point. As long as you're managing the power correctly, should be good. I'm going to actually let my power go a little bit and drop the manifold pressure some more. Don't stall anything. See those fuel gauges? See that fuel pump? Oh, I wonder if this has to be back all the way when you're not using it. Oh yeah, we got a nice approach going on here. Bring that manifold pressure up. We are a little bit fast on the descent rate at 500 feet per minute. I mean, that's not a very fast descent rate, but kind of depends on where you are in the profile, right? We're sitting at about 80, well, we're sitting about 90 knots now. I thought we were pretty well trimmed up for 80, but kind of see our runway there. We'll start a nice lazy turn into it. Oh, we're climbing for some reason. We definitely don't want that. Let's bring the power back down. Okay, yeah, we're definitely feeling high up here on the approach, so I'm going to definitely drop the power gently. What an amazing aircraft. I think it's $19.99, you know, plus whatever taxes you got. Wow. Yep, we need to bring that power back. We need to not be afraid to descend. Again, keep in mind the sluggishness of the response of the throttles to the actual propellers, but looking good. So far, so good. A little bit high. Again, don't bring that manifold pressure down too low. There we go. Now we're getting down 1,200 feet per minute. Definitely a sink rate issue, but we have so much altitude that we need to bring it down. Still got 2 white on our PAPI lights, indicating high on the glide slope, but I feel pretty good so far. I think we're going to be a-okay. We're a little off the center line. I have an issue where I like to keep rudder in after a turn. It's my own issue. Okay, let's keep that nose down. Dropping out the power some more here because we are not losing altitude as quickly as we need to. So far, so good. Hanging at 80 knots. Very nice. Little bit of power in there. Again, it's going to be sluggish on the response to that, so try to be ahead of the game. Back on the glide slope. There we go. All right, we're a little bit right. Come on, baby. Bring it left. Bring it left. Looking good. Smooth that baby out a little bit. Like butter. Okay. Again, pull that RPMs back. Don't be too crazy with it. I can hear those engines getting slow. Putting in a little bit more manifold pressure there. Very good. We managed to keep them going. Let's go ahead and taxi. And we're going to go ahead and have clearance to taxi off of here. Easy does it, easy does it, easy does it. Okay, easy, 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 easy. Full right, here we go. There we go, there we go, there we go. Easy, 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 easy. Yeah, keeping that manifold pressure a little bit high. Giving us some taxi woes, but I think that guy's waiting for us. I'm not sure. What is with all of these buses right in my way? Oh, we gotta turn this off, man. Okay, you know what? I'm just gonna stop it right here. Okay, thank you. Yes, if you could please, GTFO. Look at this. What is this? Yeah, just go wherever you want. Yeah, don't worry about me. I'm just trying to, you know, land. All right. Let's see if we can get around this guy. Probably scenery crash. Taxiing this bad boy is a little bit of a pain. Okay, yeah, we're going with that. That, my friends, is a beast. I'm gonna hop back in now. Let's set that parking brake. This is gonna be a fun plane. I'll have to get the navigation down. That's gonna be a little bit, that's gonna be a hoot. All right, we'll bring the RPM down, bring these propellers back. Make sure we cut off the radio power here. Uh-oh. I noticed this with the landing lights. There's a button click, but it doesn't move up and down. So some animation's missing there. Outside of that, let's just go ahead and shut down engine 2. And you can see the RPM drop on that one. There we go. And we'll do the same thing over here. Very, very nice. Let's turn everything back to a default cockpit state here. So when the next pilot comes in, like anybody else would fly this beast but us. Now we'll adjust that, elevator control. Again, I'll have to see if I can map that somehow. That would be nice. And then our master switch is off. There we go. So we got credit for the flight. That's the plane, guys. In a nutshell, it's very vintagey, very cool. I love that startup procedure. Little bit of getting used to, but it's definitely enjoyable. Keep your eye on the channel for more flight simulator and especially some Aerofly content. I would like to, you know, get these planes. I would like to show you guys the throttle quadrant, and I would like to do it in Aerofly. So we'll see how long it takes for those issues to get sorted out. If it's not too long, we'll do it in Aerofly. Otherwise, we'll do something here in Flight Simulator to show it. Or maybe even X-Plane. I haven't been in X-Plane for a long time. Thank you very much for watching. Keep your eye on the channel for more content. We'll see you in the next video.